All right, everybody. It's Kyle T. Mosley from the Black Sports Insiders here with Mr. Wilton C. Jackson II. How you doing, Wilt?
I am doing good, Cal. What about yourself?
Man, just hanging tough. Let's see. Sound like we got some double stuff going through here. But anyway, how things been going with you, Wilt?
They're going, man. You know, we were just talking off air. Like, it's a lot to talk about. Busy times, coaching changes, SWAC Championship, Division II playoffs. I mean, we ain't even talked to it. Technically, we know it's basketball season going on, but I feel like football is just kind of finding its way, extending it on. And I'm just like, my goodness, it never stops.
Never stops, but it's always great for us as media to be able to have these stories keep on rolling and rolling and rolling in. Looks like as soon as I finish one story, there's another one right there waiting for me to be able to author. Man, but can you ever get to them all? Not all the time, unless you're Stephen J. Gaither. He just does it. I don't know how Stephen does.
No, that's true. Stephen is always on it.
Yeah, he is. And guys, welcome to the penultimate show for Black football. We are going to kind of count down what's going to happen. We have a special guest that's going to be on with us tonight as well, Mr. Bubba McDowell, the former head coach of the Prairie View Panthers. And we have, of course, Miss Keisha J. Kelly in the house. How you doing, Keish?
All is well. I just got finished debating about my great Southern Jaguars. Y'all not listen, Kyle. I don't do trash talk, but I'm also not delusional, and I'm a little sick and tired of Jackson State folks. Now take from that what you need, because I'm nice till I'm not nice.
Okay, all right. Well, hopefully, I mean you're not gonna have much debate here unless
oh no, of course not.
Wilton starts playing JSU Rock You on you.
No, I'm not gonna be doing that. I look at it from, you know, the whole lens of the game and all of that. I mean, trash talk gonna be trash talk. I mean, it is what it is. SWAC Championship, Jack State versus Southern, two schools that don't like each other. I mean, this is what is expected.
It is what it is. Yeah. And we have, look who's here with us, y'all. You know, she ain't covering the Rockets or the Texans tonight, so she graces us
Rockets on the road
with her appearance. It's good to see you. How you doing,
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Hey.
All right, we got partial game here. Ray is covering a basketball game tonight, so he won't be able to join us. But guys, let's jump right into it. We will have Coach McDowell in the studio pretty soon. But Kim, let's talk about what's happening in the National Football League right now. The Houston Texans are dealing with some controversy with the young defender hitting Trevor Lawrence and knocking him out for the rest of the season. So people are just going berserk about this. What's happening over there in the Texans land?
So, yeah, that has been really one of the big stories in the league. You know, he was suspended for 3 games, which I quite frankly thought was excessive. And then already the league has denied the appeal. And so I think there's really kind of 2 parts to this story, right? Like the hit was, I was not surprised that with the hit that he was clearly ejected. Okay. And I thought he might get a game suspension. I thought 3 games was a lot. And I think that when I talk about, there's 2 parts to it. So when you've heard his head coach, D'Amico Ryans, talk about, you know, how they've got to do something about quarterbacks and the slide that really is sometimes hard to defend, because you think about the video you'll see a lot from with Pickens when he faked the slide and then he ended up. Mm-hmm. So that is a thing, right? That is separate and aside from the hit that Aziz made on Trevor Lawrence. I don't think that D'Amico was saying it's Trevor Lawrence's fault. It's okay. But I think those comments have made people go, well, wait a minute. Are you saying that what Aziz did wasn't wrong? But you have to remember, not only is he his head coach, he was a linebacker. And defensive players are going to look at this situation differently. I don't think anybody wants to see a player go down and get hurt. So a lot of the conversation is there's 2 pieces. One, should they do something about that rule? Because quarterbacks do take advantage of it. One of the people who does at the best is Patrick Mahomes. That's one conversation. And the other conversation is, did the punishment fit the crime, right? And to have Runyon from the NFL be the person to deliver this, who was quite frankly one of the dirtiest players to ever play the game, it's just rich. So, there's a lot of hypocrisy with the NFL. And it did seem like you're taking a shot at Aziz Shair's, Al-Shair's character. And as a person who talks to him weekly, that's not his character. And if you want to say, okay, his character off the field doesn't matter about it on the field, but that's not in the letter that the NFL delivered. That's not what they show. So it's a lot of, it's a lot going on and around. I think that the league, and I'm interpreting like their stance, maybe they felt like, well, there wasn't enough contrition on the part of the Texans. The general manager had something to say. The coach had something to say. Those things shouldn't go into whether somebody's suspended for 3 games. But I think if a person's never been ejected and they've never been suspended, that their first suspension is 3 games, I think it's excessive. So it's a problem for the Texans, right? It hurts them tremendously because their next 3 games, which they have 3 games in 10 days, they face the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. So there's that.
Wow. What an obstacle course to maneuver through with those guys, and not to have one of their top defenders is going to be very tough. Another team that's dealing with some controversy as well is the Southern Jaguars. Keisha, any word on Mr. Brister, and will he be out for half of the game coming up on the SWAC Championship or all of the game?
So from what we know, they said that it was targeting, but from what we understood after that, it really wasn't targeting. But from what I understand, it's still upheld that he will be out for the first half of Saturday's game.
That's huge.
Yeah.
He's one of their best defenders as well.
Right.
Wow. Wilton, when you look at what's happening with the SWAC Championship and how the buildup is going on, it looks like the Cardiac Cats over there at the Southern University, those guys are trending at the right time, as well as the Jackson State Tigers. So that makes up a great matchup, right?
It does. You're talking about a Southern team that, pretty much lived in overtime games throughout the second half of the season. And I'm a firm believer it's not so much of how you win, but more so about the fact that you do win. A win is a win, and as long as you continue winning and you're able to compete for a title, that's all that matters. And so now, for me, I was looking to see how well they would play, and obviously get the win against Grambling in the Bayou Classic, because obviously that momentum is going to carry into the SWAC Championship. And so they beat Grambling. This is a Southern team that's definitely not the same team that Jackson State faced in September, one that lacked some continuity on the offensive line. The running game wasn't strong for Southern in that first game of the season when the two teams played. Even the quarterback situation, which is still somewhat up in the air, even though they've elected to go with Jalen Woods, and we know that he's a younger quarterback. But having, given him some playing time in the second half of the season and in the last several weeks, we're going to get a chance to see what he looks like against a really talented Jackson State defense, and one that's really hungry to continue to solidify itself as to why they believe they're the best team in the SWAC.
And Keisha, talking to Coach Graves, and he's very confident in this young man. He believes that Jalen is the guy to be able to help them win the game on Saturday. How do you see this matchup going forward? Just a brief preview before we go to break.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a blowout like a lot of people, people have consistently with the jokes, oh, Jackson State by 40 or Jackson State by 30 or Southern by, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to actually come down, I'm going to say probably within 7 to 10 points, if even that. It's going to be a close game. And so, like I said earlier, the key is going to be to contain Herb Mulligan. That's one of the key things. And then for Jackson State, they're going to have to contain Kelby Gibbons, and it's, we look at some of the postseason honors, and we see the recruiting and all of the things that have happened. But Southern's going to have to start out fast. And as I've stated before, and as it's been stated more than one time, if you win one time, it's luck. If you find ways to continue winning, as Terrence Gray has done, it's a skill. So you can underrate them, you can downplay them, you can take them lightly, but let him sneak in there and get a win on you. Let him sneak in there and get a win on you.
Yeah, those cardiac cats, they know how to be resilient and come back and win the games when necessary. Uh, let's talk about what's happening with some of the postseason honors there. Well, Jackson State, I think they led the individual honors with 11. Southern, I think they had 8 or 9 young men.
Yep.
And then you look at the coach of the year, TC Taylor. He was crowned the coach of the year for the SWAC. But right nipping on his heels was Terrence Graves.
Yeah.
And he's done a tremendous job over there with the Southern Jaguars as well. Talk about how this is really what we need and wanted to see. 2 great teams, 2 great programs that have athletes just competing and just going to have a great time to be able to see how these guys are going to match up on Saturday.
I mean, I think when you look at this matchup, it's what you just said. Like, you're getting the 2 best teams essentially that have been the best teams all year. Obviously, at one point we didn't necessarily know. I speak for the Jackson State side, then the Southern side. For Jackson State, the early test for them was, could they beat FAMU, right? They beat FAMU. The next test was, could they beat Alabama State? They beat Alabama State. Then that's when the noise continued to rise for Jackson State. Then you look at Southern. I can remember in that first game before they played Jackson State, there were some question marks around Terrence Graves and what he would be able to do with this program. Was he the right fit for this program coming into the season? And then shortly after that Jackson State loss, they started to put it together. They started to get that continuity on the offensive line, the running game. The defense came on strong. And then, still finding ways to win games. So I think on Saturday, you're going to get a culmination of what we expect to be a good game. And to Keisha's point, definitely it's not going to be a blowout. I definitely think it's going to be a close game. I think really it's going to really come down to defense, which defense is going to be able to stand tall and make plays when it matters the most. And you're going to see some high-quality football with some high-caliber athletes on both sides. With Southern, obviously you have Kobe Dillon, and you also have their other running back, and then, of course,
Kendrick Rhines.
Yes, yeah. Kendrick Rhines. That's what I was thinking about. Jalen Woods, a slew of wide receivers, defenders all over the place. And I can't say enough about Kelby Givens. I mean, the dude is an absolute dog. And if you're Jackson State, obviously you want to know where he is at all times. And then with Jackson State, it goes without questioning. Their bevy of running backs, Jacoby Morgan, Robert McDaniels on defense. I mean, it's just going to be a star-studded affair. It's going to be a good game to see. Definitely not one you want to miss.
Yeah, definitely. All right. You guys will be covering that. We'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the program. But Kim, right before we go to break, you had a great conversation with Chris Dishman. I spoke to Coach Dishman as well, and he alluded to he was kind of disappointed he didn't have more representation on that all SWAC team. He did have 2 young guys, one to make first team, Mr. Henson, as well as one to make the second team. And Coach Bubba McDowell, he had his place kicker to be able to make the team, man. So if we had some representation around the Houston area, how you think Coach Dishman is really feeling, but he kind of got guarded with me, but how he'll let you know how he feels.
Well, we didn't talk a lot about that. He always, he is wants better for his players. Like he's whenever you get a chance to talk to him, he's going to tell you. And by the way, this is my words, not his. They need to have more people coming out watching these young men play, right? Just because he's like, they just deserve that. And so it's interesting because that's one of the reasons that he has them. He thinks it's important for them to do some community service. He says, you want to ask people to support you. We need to support the community. So one of the requirements is that if you play football at TSU, that you will do community service. And he said he hasn't got any pushback, the guys who are there. So I broke the interview up into pieces. And the first part, he kind of talks about his motivation and, I asked him what's the toughest part about, coaching this job. And so he talked a little bit about his first year. 5-6 isn't great, but it's a good place to start for TSU for a new coach, I thought. And he's like, yeah, we don't want to be 5-6 anymore. It's no excuse about when you get the job. He's really it's interesting. So the first part of the interview, he talks a little bit about that, and I said, why come here, right? The history and the reputation, and so he talks about that a little bit. So it was interesting with Coach Dishman. He shares some of his thoughts and vision, and I'm not sure that always the powers that be want to hear what he thinks, but he is not shy in telling you.
He is not.
No, I thought he was going to say, if you keep on having that guy Mosley ask me questions at the press conference, we're going to shut this thing down. Well, we know a guy who's very familiar with him. He's on the other side of the break, and he will be joining us in two guys. If you're out there on YouTube and you're listening to us, smash up the likes, give us a subscription, a follow us at hbculegends.net on all of our Sports Illustrated content on HBCU football, as well as the other sports as well. So just join us, and we're going to have a good time tonight with Coach Bubba McDowell. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday.
I got you something.
We said no gift. We had to get you something.
Thank you, honey.
I got you this.
Did you do this yourself?
Man, I had a great teacher.
Happy birthday. I love you. I love you too.
Love you. Thank you.
This is from me to you.
I am genius.
Amazon Fall Favorites are here. Save on fashion, home, beauty, and more. Shop Amazon Fall Favorites now.
This is not just delivery. This is knowing even superheroes can use a sidekick. Walgreens.
Something amazing is happening here. Climate researchers are weathering a data storm. That's because CDW transformed their devices and infrastructure with Lenovo ThinkPads and powerful edge-to-cloud solutions, delivering faster insights and increased performance, giving them the scale to stay ready for whatever's next. Make amazing happen. Lenovo and CDW.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just to love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
All right, Kyle T. Mosley here with the Black Sports Insiders. We have Keisha J. Kelly, Mr. Wilton C. Jackson II, and Kim Y. Davis. And now we have Mr. Coach Bubba McDowell in the house. What's going on, Coach?
What's going on, people? How y'all doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good to be here.
All right. A lot of people been wanting to hear from you, wanting to talk to you and see what's going on with you. And we were talking a little bit about the SWAC, and I saw you in the back nodding your head when Wilton was talking about the defenses on both of those squads. It's going to be very important. But how you been? First of all, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving good, man. The boys cooked something to eat, man. Went over to their house, and he had a big spread, Trey, the oldest one, and I told him he needs to go to a culinary school, man. He don't listen to me, but he can throw down, man. So I got full, man. Came on back and watched some TV.
All right, well, good. Now let's talk about what's happening with you since your departure from Prairie View. How's everything filling out, and how do you feel about what has transpired?
again, I mean, how I feel, again, hey, it's football. We all know that. You guys been around it for many, many years, and things like this happen. A lot of times we get reason why, then sometimes we don't, again, or we get a reason, then we just don't accept it. But again, it happens. So it's time for me to move on to the next stage of my life, and, wherever God's lead me to be at, or where, I mean, again, it may not even be football, but again, I know He has something planned for me, and at this point in time, I'm in a really, really good place.
All right, Kim.
How are you, Bubba McDowell, my friend? Good to see
Hey,
you.
my love, how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to ask you about expectations. It's always different when there's a new leader. I know there's a new athletic director, but going into this past season, what kind of expectations did you have for the program, and what kind of expectations did, I guess, leadership at the university have for the program?
Well, again, I guess coming off last year, I guess a lot of people had a lot of big expectation of getting back to the SWAC championship this year, and again, also myself. But again, I knew it was going to be hard. One, we had a young O-line, young meaning inexperience as well. Then we had a new office assistant going in as well, and a lot of times when those two things don't quite marry together real well for that first season, but again, thinking that, Coach Wheaton come in and again, just give us what we need to do offensively and, and get over that hump, it didn't happen, and there was a lot of close games that I thought we should have won. We was in it, but again, it didn't happen for us. So the expectation again was, it was high. And even though we had, like I said, we had them young bucks up front, and and as the season went on, as you guys saw, people exploited that. They took very good advantage of our offensive line. Defensively, we played well throughout the whole year.
Wilt.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hey, Wilt, what's up, buddy?
So the question I want to ask is, when you look at the way this season ended for you, but more so than anything, how would you assess the season in terms of not necessarily just from a wins and losses standpoint, but the players? Like when a coach leaves or gets taken away from a program, that obviously leaves a gap in the program. So I wanted to ask, when you assess how this year went, how do you assess it from the player standpoint? Like how does this affect the players?
Well, yeah, it affects player big time. And again, not just Prairie View, but any program or a successful program anyway. You make changes. Kids gonna see that. They're gonna want to transfer. And from what I've been hearing, a lot of kids have jumped into the portal so far. But again, this is what happens, and you guys know that as well. And now it's, whoever they bring in, and he's gonna have to again build this program up the way he wants it, the way AD Golf wants it, the way Madam President wants it, and hopefully it's successful, to them. But at the end of the day, when changes happen, you basically kind of starting over, and that's where we were at that particular time, because again, like I said, we was young up front, but again, hey, we survived some games. Again, played well in spurts in certain games, but didn't play well enough to win, put us in the back where we were last year.
All right, Keish.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, lady, how are you doing?
I think we dressed alike, glasses and black sweatshirts, but mine say Southern. I don't know what yours say.
Mine just says HBCU.
Coach Graves hide mine on this screen, so you really can't see what's going on over here. So, Coach, you're out in Texas without telling us. Do you got your eye on any other head coaching positions? Because I know you said you're in a good place, but do you got your eye on any other head coaching positions?
Yeah, I know Norfolk came open, and I got my agent. I decided to get an agent this year. So.
Oh, you did that thing.
Absolutely. I finally got smart, So I got one. He's out there looking, shopping me around, and I've had some calls from my guys to come and be a position coach, but I asked them if it was okay if I, pursued this head thing first, and a lot of them said, several of them said, okay, just keep them informed of what's going on.
So when we're talking about your outlook So the priority, number one, head coach. And if some of these opportunities, especially we've had a flurry of new openings that have happened in HBCU football, but also there's some opportunities in FCS as well. Have you looked into outside of HBCU football as well?
Yeah, we talked about it. Me and Agent talked about Melvin Bratton. He's a former University of Miami guy as well, so he's looking at all options. I told him just throw it out there, and see if we get any bites, and then if we do, we'll go in, do the interview, and then let it go from there.
Okay, well, good. Any of your players who are setting themselves up for the scouts and the pros to be able to interview and talk with, have they approached you to see, hey, coach, now you got some free time, can you help us out?
Well, no, the only one that reached out to me was James Burns, and again, we're just trying to, he just asked me more so about the Legacy Bowl, so he and I were just kind of talking about that, and unfortunately, we didn't get enough touches to him this year. Because again, I think he's one of those guys when we went out and start out and looking for those type of guys to play in this type of offense, he was going to be one of the big play guys. And of course, he got hurt Texas Southern game. He was out several games, but came back strong when he got out there on the field. Of course, you guys saw against Texas A&M Commerce, how those big yardage he put up. So. Again, it kind of hurt him, to be out all those games. But I think if he go out and train like I told him to do, because he's very, very fast. He just needs to put some weight on, and I think he's gonna be okay. But again, he just got to, from this point on, he just got to work. Don't know what's going on with Shamar. I haven't talked with him yet. Everybody know he was out several games, this past 2 games, and due to that. Thigh injury, bruise, and the shin bruise against Valley, so he wasn't able to finish out the year strong. So I'm gonna give him a call tomorrow just to see what's going on with him and see where he's at. For us, I know he's supposed to play in the Legacy Bowl as well. So,
all right, excellent. We have a question from one of the viewers here. It's called CFB Now. Do you think that there's an HBCU school that can make the FCS playoffs next season?
Yeah, Jackson's one of them. Again, I really do. Let me first also say too, congratulations to TC for being named Coach of the Year, SWAC. But yeah, I do believe that he can, get there with the kids he keeps bringing in, to reload, and keep doing what they're doing. But I really believe that there are going to be some others. I believe that can also get to that next level as well.
Yeah. Were you proud to see how you have Virginia Union winning 2 games, advancing? Now they're going to face Valdosta State. Then you had Miles. They won their first game ever to be able to, in the playoffs, to be able to go on. But if they ran into a Valdosta State team, then you had Eddie George. When they went up to Montana, they did not stop playing until the final gun, right? But it was a back and forth seesaw type of affair for them. How proud are you as a coach, HBCU coach, to see how our HBCU programs have been advancing this year in the playoff system?
Man, I'm so proud, again, just to be a part of this system, HBCUs. And, see these coaches going out, getting these young men, from the portal, from high school, and develop them, more importantly, to help them get to, postseason type play. And, man, I think for sure that this is going to continue to get better with the HBCU schools. Because, again, now, we're going to these 104, 105 numbers with everybody. So there's going to be a lot more players trickling down to the HBCU, and we're gonna be able to, and I'm just speaking like I'm gonna be back at some point.
That's right. Speak it.
We're gonna be able to get a lot more better players, going forward, man. And again, it's just really gonna make the HBCU university look that much better, Because again, the big stigma back in the day, again, we can get all these players, but you guys can't coach them to be where you guys want to be at the end of the year. But now you're seeing a lot of good coaches taking their teams to postseason play.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we will have more from Coach Bubba McDowell on the other side of this break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what he sees in the HBCU spectrum because of the host of vacancies, but also he's going to help us break down some of the keys to the SWAC Championship. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
Wow. Hey, Jay, this project might need a bit of zhuzhing. Holla back, Warren.
Please let me know your thoughts. Best regards, Warren.
I am genius.
Come to McDonald's and treat yourself to the Grandma McFlurry today.
So I trust everyone's read the prospectus. Lance, why don't you take us through it?
Let's get into the prospectus.
Okay.
I am genius.
Something amazing is happening here. Climate researchers are weathering a data storm. That's because CDW transformed their devices and infrastructure with Lenovo ThinkPads and powerful edge-to-cloud solutions, delivering faster insights and increased performance, giving them the scale to stay ready for whatever's next. Make amazing happen. Lenovo and CDW.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
All right, it's time to blow the whistle. Coach is going to give us some of the lowdown and some of the insights on the SWAC Championship. But before we get into that, Coach, I know Kim as well as Keisha and Wilt may have a couple of more questions. Talk about this one aspect, and a lot of people kind of forget. Everybody's fire happy these days. And let's fire the coach. Let's fire everything we don't like. We had a SWAC championship last year. Let's fire him this year. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of patience going on across the board, even with athletic directors as well. They're kind of covering themselves, so to speak. How do you guys handle that as coaches?
Well, I mean, it's hard to handle because, again, you want to, as a coach, you want to be able to say that you're secured for a number of years, again, especially if you're coming off a good year and now you're starting to rebuild, that squad again and to rebuild that squad again. You're talking about young high school kids coming in as well, as some guys from the transfer portal as well from JC. So, again, now you got to get all these camaraderie, all these attitudes, gelling as one in order to make your season better going into training camp, going into camp itself, which ultimately leads into the season. So it's hard, but again, we're into a business now where they following that model of NFL guys. You got to win fast and you got to win quickly.
Kim?
So, with that being said, and I would say the game is obviously changed. Obviously, the portal has made a difference. Is there anything that you would do differently about how you approach the season, or even your tenure at Prairie View? If you had a moment, not long, but to look at, is there anything you would do differently, Or do you think coaches have to now approach this thing differently because really the leash is so short? 3 years is not a long time.
No, and again, I took the 3 years again because we was at the gun as far as PV wanting somebody in position, and more so it was me and Middleton at the time, Coach Todd Middleton, who's now at Alabama State. It was him and I, trying to hold it down till they actually made a decision. And at that particular time, we got guys calling, say, go somewhere else. So we're trying to make sure that we can keep those guys there. So again, it was like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead. I'll take the 3. Let's do it. So we can at least have somebody name, and these kids will feel comfortable. And that's what we did. But 3 years now, today, no, not at all. It has to be at least 4 or 5. If you ask me, and that's my opinion. Because again, now you got to give these guys a chance to build a squad, build it the way they want. Again, with so many new faces coming in from the portal, high school kids, it's going to take a minute for these young men to gel together, because now it's not just all high school now where you have time to build these guys, from freshman year to their sophomore year. It's a ready game right now. We got to win right now. So now you got all these JCs and transfer guys coming in with different attitudes. Now you got to monitor that throughout the whole day, whole year, which that's what we do. As I told coaches this past year or year that I got the head job, this is our job. We got to teach these guys. We got to be there for these guys. So we told these parents, we're going to be there just as if we're their father away from home, their parents away from home. So again, kids are different going now, as you guys know. So we as coaches got to be even more diligent, if that's the word, to teach these young men, to guide these young men to where they want to go, to where they want to be at the end of their career. And again, it's not all just about football. Yes, we want you to come into the university, do well, participate. Hopefully you want to get to the next level. But more importantly, what's going to happen when you're done, and we want to prepare you for that.
Well, Coach, I need to ask this question because we look at this season, TC Taylor in his second season, Ashley Robinson did something that most ADs don't do. They gave him an immediate contract extension.
Saw that.
When you won the SWAC West, were you offered an extension by AD Golf?
I was not. We didn't even talk about it, to be honest, guys. And again, I got smarter, like I say. And when I say I got smarter, because now I got an agent, and probably, that agent would have done for me.
Well, look, I told you should have called me.
No. No.
Yeah, I would. Hold on, Keish. I would have been there for your advocate to be able to let you know it's time to re-up, baby.
Let me give some information to the young coaches out there. Get an agent. Get somebody that's going to advocate for you, that's going to speak on your behalf. ASAP,
definitely.
So I've never been a coach, but in our industry we have agents too. And I would add this caveat: make sure it's an agent who's really going to work for you.
Absolutely.
Don't just get an agent, because sometimes people, I have an agent. So I've had 2 in my career, and neither of them ever got me work. So I'm just saying, you got to find the right one for you.
Yeah.
Ask around.
Yes.
There you go. Keish.
So before I go to my question, I know you said you was going to break down. Just remember, I went to Southern. So when you start breaking down this championship game, Coach, just remember what side I'm on, okay? Just remember I'm on the Jaguar side, okay? Wilson's on the Jackson State side, but that's neither here nor there. But no, seriously, Coach, outside of coaching, have you ever considered a career like in administration or anything that's still in the realm of sports, but anything outside of coaching?
No, be honest with you, no, I haven't thought about it, because again, coaching was all I ever wanted to do, and that was my way really of giving back, teaching these young men the things that I was taught throughout the year by some of the best coaches that I ever played under, the Nick Sabans, the Jimmy Johnsons at Miami, and players as well. So I've always wanted to just kind of give back on that side. Never thought about the administration side of it.
Okay, and the follow-up question, when you talk about getting an agent, what clicked and said, hey, I need an agent?
Shoot, but the fact that nothing was said like early in the year. He said, hey, you know what? Coach McDow did win SWAC, Western Side. He made it to this championship. Can we talk about renewing before the season get going?
Give the man, pay the man. That's what
Cal
we were saying.
For it. Yep, Cal would have been
the man. All right. Well, can't hear you, Doc.
I think you muted.
You muted?
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about the turnaround of coaches amongst the HBCU ranks. We all were kind of talking about that. When you look at the state of the HBCU coaches now, especially when you have coaches like, say, Chennis Berry, who in his first season at South Carolina State is going to be competing in the Celebration Bowl. But obviously, before getting to a MEAC school, he was on a smaller level, coaching at Benedict where he won titles. What does that say for other coaches coming from smaller HBCU conferences looking to take that next step amongst the HBCU ranks?
It's there. I mean, again, you're seeing a lot of good coaches coming from smaller schools, Division 1, 2, Division 2 and 3, stepping up and doing what, that school, that university want them to do. And that's come in, take us to a championship, put us in a championship, get us close to a championship. And you got a lot of coaches that are doing that. And I believe that you're gonna see a lot more as we go forward, in football and especially with HBCU. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of coaches stepping up, and building these programs to where, again, the alumni is going to be happy, the president's going to be happy, and overall, the student body is going to be happy, And then you get all that working together. Now you can start getting a lot of these monies coming into these universities, and again, that's our ultimate goal. We want to be able to win championship, bring notoriety to these universities, so we can get more monies coming into, so we can build a better program for these athletes.
Absolutely. And my follow-up is this, and Kim, you kind of alluded to this in terms of like with the transfer portal and NIL, but more so the transfer portal. Do you think the parity amongst the HBCU ranks, say from like the teams competing in the MEAC and the SWAC and per se like the CIAA and the SIAC, do you think that gap is going to continue to close?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you. With the athletes now that are moving around in different areas, different universities, you better believe me. It's definitely the gap is going to close, because again, now you're seeing these athletes that wants to go somewhere but then can't go anywhere, and they go to a university that has really good coaching, really stable, and next thing you know, they're playing for a championship, or they've had a winning season, more importantly.
Now, here's a question. As you look at the different opportunities out there, when you are doing your evaluation process, do you also talk about how it will be important to have that NIL ingredient, or have that one person who's the champion that you can rely on, that can help you guys bring in more NIL money through the collectives, through the sponsorships, through whatever?
Through whatever. You said that last word. That's where it's at, and that's where we're going. And I don't want to say unfortunate, because again, I'm not against kids not getting paid. But again, we got to be able to have people in place, like a lot of these universities that's going to say, hey, you know what do you need, Coach McDow? What do you need, Coach Berry? Let's make this thing work to where we can get you the player you want, to build this program that we think you can build, and let's get to championship and let's win some games. So we definitely got to have those type of people step up, and do what, they say they're going to do, and not just talk about it, but do it.
All right, guys, we're going to be back with Coach McDowell to be able to wrap up, but he's going to break down the SWAC Championship. And Keisha, he's going to be kind to the Jaguars.
I'm coming to Texas if you're not, Coach. And I'm going to just tell you right now. I can get on the flight. I can get on the flight now.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll be back shortly.
So, what did you think of the pitch I emailed you?
Yes, the one that you emailed me. I remember. The pitch? Oh, Dog Days. What a title. Here we are. Very Victorian, which I loved. Unique relationship is formed. I love unique relationships.
With a twist.
I know, because I read it.
Great. I'm going to tell them you're interested.
This is not just delivery. This is knowing even superheroes can use a sidekick. Walgreens.
Something amazing is happening here. The next era of AI has arrived. CDW data engineers are helping organizations harness the power of AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. The power to run workloads faster means greater performance, giving your team a better shot at success. Make amazing happen. CDW.
Prime Big Deal Days is coming October 8th and 9th. With exclusive savings just for Prime members, you'll feel like a big deal. Shop deals on electronics, fashion, and more this Prime Big Deal Days, October 8th and 9th.
Okay, we are back. And Coach, you got some love out there. Jess, if you guys don't know Jess, she has one of the most remarkable voices and she's very talented. Jess, she gives you some love there, man. She says, forever you're her coach. How you feel about that?
Thank you, my love. Appreciate it.
All right. And then we have a question. Does Coach think that we have gotten away from the local area recruiting?
No. Again, no matter where I go, I'm definitely going to be recruiting. If that's the question being asked, I'm definitely going to be recruiting Texas, and all the other areas as well. I mean, states that I say. Even at when I was there, we went everywhere. Again, just having contacts in different states, and then just trying to find the best player. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to find the best player wherever they are. Be able to find the best player to help that university, help the squad, to a better place, winning, and hopefully the champion.
Okay, awesome. Kim, you have a follow-up question.
Yeah, Bob, I wanted to ask you kind of a two-part question. The first part is, to have three guys or two other guys that you played professional football with on the Oilers, all be in the SWAC, when you're seeing these guys, of course, Eddie Robb and now Chris Dishman come into the league, do you expect to see more of that? And then the other part is, as we're now a few years removed from Dion, Coach Prime, being a part of SWAC and to see what he has been able to do, does that have an impact? And how do you think that helps players that are coming in and trying to coach?
I think with former players coming in, and Kim, this was something I would say, even when I was just volunteering 4 years at Longview High School, asked me to jump in the coaching when I was training guys when I first retired. Volunteering at Texas Southern for 4 years. It was something I saw even then, trying to get these athletes to jump in, so they can give back to these young men, the teaching, the wisdom, but again, it wasn't happening back then. Now you're seeing these guys starting to jump into HBCUs or again, just D2, D3 schools and giving back, man, because to me, these are guys that have been there, they've done it, they've seen it, they've been part of it, and who better than those guys to give these young men, again, if that's your aspiration of moving on to the next level, these guys can help do that because they got so many contacts across the nation, across college football, so yeah, I hope and pray that they do. Now, will the university be able to afford them? Second part, hey, again, I really believe that in my heart. I said it from day one, and even before he came and did that camp with us, that mega camp with us, Coach Prime has left a mark on the SWAC. And again, I know a lot of people got because he came in, did what he needed to do. He brought the notoriety. And guys, that's where we had to start at. That's where we had to begin. Brought notoriety to the SWAC. Is again wanted to come, wanted to play for him, but bottom he couldn't have everybody. So now, he was shifting them off to FAM or other places within the SWAC. So yeah, he opened the door up for us. And again, I mean, it may take somebody else with a big name like that to keep this going for HBCU, yet alone just a SWAC, But again, he did what he came in to do, and now he's doing a heck of a job at Colorado. So yeah, kudos to Coach Prime, for coming in, starting this thing up, and getting us back where HBCU needed to be.
Yeah, and definitely what he's been able to do with Shedeur as well as Travis Hunter. That's HBCU pedigree. We're going to claim those guys, and they are our guys that we're going to possibly have a Heisman Trophy winner from HBCU up there, right? We're going to probably have one of these top quarterbacks in the first round from HBCU like Steve McNair. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, and I remember Brian, when Willie was here, 7 out, and they was kind of playing both ways, the kids, and I remember vividly. Man, what you gonna do? He's gonna go both ways? Oh no, coach! Oh no, coach! He's but tell me he's not a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good to see what these guys are doing. All right. First up, Isha. Any questions about how the Jags are going to win, or whatever question you have for Coach to help the Jags?
No, I'm waiting on Coach to give us the breakdown. I thought that's what we ended it. I'm waiting on his analysis.
Well, I mean, I really believe that it's going to be a defensive battle. I know Coach Miller, very well. I coached with him, against him as well, and he put it on me. Coming out, it's a young group. Now TC got a better squad over there, but I truly believe that the way he calls defenses and mixes it up with pressures and the blitzes, it's going to be a defensive battle. And again, whoever comes when it comes down to the end of it, I guess who makes the least amount of big plays, is going to be that team that wins. Whoever makes the bigger plays, it's going to be that team that wins, because again, they both got great offense, good offense. Jackson's better, if you ask me, but I think that defense that Coach Miller has put together this last stretch of the season, I mean, they're doing some really, really good things.
So I just say the person with the most points is who's gonna win. That's my final. My final, Kyle. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, come down to big plays. If Southern don't give up the big plays as we all talk about those big plays during the course of the game, I think they'll win. Now again,
Coach, quick question before Wilt ask a question. When it comes to the turnover battles, because I noticed in a couple of games, especially the Texas Southern game, as well as your game with Southern as well, the turnovers favored the Jaguars. And that really helped turn the tide and turn momentum in those games as well.
Big momentum switch, because again, you're getting these turnovers and you're giving it back to an offense. Again, whether you think that offense is dynamic or not, if they just okay, if you continue to give these turnovers to these guys, something good is going to happen. And for us, and I'm speaking for us, that's what happened. We had that defense out there on the field quite a bit. Coach Frederick, just started switching up a little bit, and started running the ball, started wearing us down, and shoot, the next thing boom, he with a play action.
All right, Will.
Coach, when you look at a player that like Southern has in Kelby Givens, when you're game planning for him, what stands out the most about him, number one? And if you're a coach and you're having to defend him, obviously you saw him this year when you guys played Southern. What stands out the most about him, and how do you defend someone like that of his magnitude?
Well, it's hard. You're not stopping, but you got to be able to contain him, and you're going into the week, figuring out, as you guys know, is all about mismatches, in games like this or like any game. So, they're gonna have to figure out how to get a mismatch with him, and to give them the advantage, and to me, that's the only way that you're gonna have that type of success, as a coordinator. You got to figure those things out. You got to have it in your plays. Hey, where can we put this guy at to have a mismatch against a certain defense, certain offense, or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, it's about where you can put your players, your go-getters in position that's going to be successful for your unit.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the line here, Coach. The Southern Jaguars offense versus the Jackson defense. Who wins that battle?
I'm gonna go with the Jags.
Whoa, okay. All right. Opposite.
He didn't want me to get on that plane, Kyle.
All right. Oh my God. The Tigers offense versus the Jaguars defense.
Jags.
All right. It's kind of even. All right. Okay. So when it comes to the coaching battle, which coaching staff has the advantage here?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with TC. I'm gonna go with those guys, Jackson State for sure. I just think they're the guys he brought, to where they are today, with those young men, the studs he have on there. Again, he puts them in position. He uses them well, and that's a big key to me about how you use your players.
Okay. My old mentor used to say, Kyle, special teams have to be special. And who has the special teams unit that's going to really tilt the favor to them?
Looking at Jackson, last couple of games on TV, I'm gonna give them the advantage. They're pretty rounded, on seems to be anyway on all four phases: kickoff, returns, punt, as well. So I'm gonna give that favor to Jackson State.
Okay, and we're not gonna let Keisha get on that plane to Texas to hurt you. So who's gonna have that advantage and take it to the Celebration Bowl? Who, in your opinion?
In my opinion, you got to go with the home team. I mean, that crowd there alone, it's going to be one in itself. That's going to be your 12th man, like the Aggies. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would definitely give the advantage to Jack, with their fan base.
Okay. And one last question from a fan before we sign off. They wanted to know your thoughts on the Virginia Union versus Valdosta State playoff game.
Valdosta, man, they're pretty darn good this year, man. And I'm a Georgia boy too, so I gotta go with Valdosta. They're pretty sufficient in all places, like pretty dominant. So I'm gonna go with Valdosta.
All right, Valdosta in the books there. Coach, any last comments, thoughts, anything you want to tell the people about you before we sign off?
No, again, I just want to just thank the PV Nation, the guys, people that was helping me out with the NIL deals, Chris Fords, Miss Carla Swindell, Charles Swindell, Gerald Rio. These ladies and gentlemen stepped up, the money to go out and get the guys that we had this past season. Unfortunately, again, we wasn't able to get where we wanted to get But 13 years there at PV. I mean, I've had a great time. I stayed there for a reason. Got a chance. Dr. Ruth gave me that chance to be there for 3 years. And again, if I had to go back and change a lot of things, yeah, I would. Not a whole lot, but it'd definitely be some things that I would change. But that's me growing as a head coach, that I'll be able to take on to the next place, the next step, next career, going to, hopefully at some point, be a part of. Again, I just want to say, PV Nation, you guys got a great opportunity there. I know, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. We all just got to come together as one and not be in 5, 6, 7, 8 different groups. If we come together as one unit, one big family. There's TV.
All right. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Kim. But most of all, thank you, Coach, for a great show tonight. Guys, don't forget, go follow Coach Bubba McDowell. Coach, you don't even follow me on social media. I'm kind of hurt. We've been friends for too long. You don't even follow me.
That's a call out.
Man.
Just embarrassing.
I'm going to have to follow you now that you don't follow.
Yeah, it's nothing but love, man. And Coach is going to be back with us in the future. We're going to talk a little bit, and when you have that big announcement, you got to come back to Black Sports Insiders so we can talk about that as well. Okay.
Yeah, love you guys, man. Anytime y'all need me, have me. I truly appreciate it.
All right, guys, don't forget to go follow Coach out there. Don't forget to follow HBCU Legends this weekend when we're doing the coverage of the SWAC Championship game. Don't forget to follow Wilton. I think you're going to probably have something on Anscape, right, Will?
Yep.
All right. And don't forget to follow Keisha J. Kelly on the Black College Experience. Keisha's all over the place. She's going to be there. So
this is it. The last travel game. Thank God.
She's going to be there. So, but most of all, guys, don't forget to follow Kim Davis as well. She does a great job with Chalk Talk, covering the NFL as well as the NBA. And we're going to be on Radio Row at the Celebration Bowl. So you're going to find the Black Sports Insiders there. And we're going to cover what's happening at the Celebration Bowl that Friday before the big game. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. Thank you for watching. And Coach, thank you. You take care, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
See you, Bubba.